Next speaker is Samath Bhaskar. And Samath will be speaking on interdisciplinary thinking. All right. All right, so I'm going to talk to you guys about something that I think you already believe, but I'm going to bring it up again today, so hopefully it becomes a practice and more than just a belief. I think interdisciplinary thinking, it builds empathy, it helps problem solve, it makes you a better communicator, and it makes you a better colleague, which is great for me because I get to work with you guys. So I don't have too much time today, so I need you to trust me, okay? I need you to trust me and go with it, even though I can't give you a ton of examples and studies and all that stuff. But I really honestly do believe that interdisciplinary thinking, getting out of your domain, getting into some new stuff, it helps you try out new things, it helps you learn factual knowledge about what people are doing around the world, and it helps you learn procedural knowledge about how people are doing these things around the world. And I think all these kinds of things help you gain new perspective, help you come up with new frameworks to become a better person, to become a better colleague, to become a better analyst, an engineer, MITS agent, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to use the arts as an example. I'm going to use the arts because I love the arts, I engage in these kinds of things all the time, and I think literature and music and art and film, it helps you be better. So the first example I have is from music. It's from Yo-Yo Ma. In an interview recently, he talked about when he listens to music, he only spends about 10% of the time taking in like the sound or the oral part. He spends the majority of the time thinking about what is motivating Bob Dylan's voice and his lyrics. What is motivating Chris Thile to play the mandolin the way he does? And when he steps out of himself that way, he comes back with a new perspective. He comes back a better cellist, and he's the best cellist in the world. So that's pretty incredible. And I think this is kind of all tied together in a really nice pithy quote by Marcel Proust, which is the real voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscape, but in having new eyes. Speaking of Proust, Jonah Lehrer a while ago wrote this book called Proust was a Neuroscientist, and in it he had lots of examples about artists who a long time ago, artists and authors who came up with ideas about cognitive theories, and then later it was kind of corroborated by neuroscience. So things like associative memory, Proust wrote about in the context of a novel, but then later cognitive scientists proved through PET scans and MRIs and cognitive imaging and all that kind of stuff. These are two very different things coming together to solve a very similar problem. I think jazz is another great example of this. Watching live jazz, I think, is seeing communication at its finest. If you see a half-an-hour jazz piece, what you're probably seeing is about like 1 page worth of music, but the entirety of it is improvisation. It's a communication between those jazz masters. They're talking, they're getting feedback, they're helping each other out, they're creating something by this new communication pattern. And I think you can learn that and you can take it into your organizations, into your relationships, and have it work for you. I think literature is fantastically important. I think literature builds empathy in a way that no other practice can. I think Martha Nussbaum in her book Not for Profit talks about the importance of humanities in higher education. She takes on kind of the models of Tagore and Dewey and talks about the importance of not just having higher education be economically oriented, but also to help build better citizens of our country. Because in her theory, and I agree with it, it helps build a better theory of mind. I have a better idea of how your mind works, which helps me get a better idea about how my mind works. Film is amazing. It is such a big part of my life. I love taking in films. I watch, you can ask my team, I watch like 12 movies a weekend. I think it's a great way to explore different parts of your psyche. It's a great way to explore, in a short, sustained period of time, a different part of the world and step all the way into it. Slavoj Žižek, he's a kind of a famous pop philosopher in this movie called The Perfect Guide to Cinema, talks about Freudian, Lacanian concepts of desire and understanding desire through the framework of film, and he's doing all this stuff and making us think all these things and through these analogies and metaphors. So all of these arts, all of these music and film and literature, they help you create better analogies, they help you create better metaphors, and they help you become more empathetic. They bring new perspectives into you and help you come up with new frameworks. But all of it starts with you questioning your current framework, your own current perspective. None of this is going to work for you until you start with the premise that maybe I don't have it right myself. Maybe the way I'm solving this problem isn't the best way to do it. So in order to gain any of the benefits of these things, you have to start with yourself. You have to find a desire to understand, to break down, to recreate, to question, then go out, see what other people are doing in these different domains, and then come back with this new perspective and this new framework and give it a try. And why you? Why us sitting here at Etsy? Because you're smart. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of capital. You have a lot of financial capital, a lot of social capital, probably more than 90% of the world, probably more than 99% of the world. So it's incumbent upon you to take this responsibility, to question yourself, to find a better way to do things, and to go out and read books and take in good literature, and take in good music and watch good films and see what great minds around the world have been doing for centuries, and bring that perspective into yourself. Make yourself a better problem solver. Make yourself a better colleague, an analyst, a MITS agent, an engineer, a father, a husband, a wife. Whatever you do in your life, all these things you can learn from other people to do it better.
And you thought you were just coming to an Ignite night. Turns out it's interdisciplinary thinking. We're going to be better people.